Hello and welcome to Qsports. I am Amudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. Tonight, exclusive discussion on the GFF First Division League. Some fascinating matches, some great goals, but also some great missing chances in the league. We'll be talking about all of that in tonight's discussion. Also, Fortune, they are the team of the moment, currently leading the standings by 7 points, which they have extended when they played against Armed Forces, and they won against Armed Forces by 1-0. All that on the show. Welcome and thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, this is Qsports and we're talking about the GFF First Division League, which the first round has just ended and some fascinating matches have been played. We've seen some good goals, but we've also seen some missing chances, which, well, we are going to question on this program as my guest joins me. Well, Fortune are deservedly on top on 29 points after 13 matches, extending their lead to 7 points after their 1-0 victory against second-placed Armed Forces. They have the best defensive record so far in the league. They scored 14 goals and just conceded 2. Well, my guest on the show is Sektijan Gay, journalist, and also a pundit at the same time. Say, welcome to the studio.
Yes, thank you very much, Gajaga. It's good to be here, and I first must congratulate you for doing a brilliant job, and as well as your institution, because you guys are doing extremely well in promoting local sports, particularly football, which is not only the most popular sport in the Gambia, but the whole world for that matter.
Exciting as it is, the GFF First Division League, yes, this is our national league. This is our epic. This is the, topmost football competition that we have in this country. After the first round, tell us your impression so far.
Yeah, I think the league over the years have taken really a huge stride in terms of development, in terms of players that are doing extremely well. There are a combination of factors that are responsible for that. I think the institutional teams have done quite a good job in trying to standardize the league by injecting some money into it. Although compared to other countries, we are nowhere near that. But if you remember, over the years, we've had philanthropists or those that love football just inject their money into football without getting anything in return. I think everybody can remember the likes of late Alhaji Omar Sy, the likes of Mudu Busanjai, the late, and others.
Obi
Konate. They've put a lot of money in order to develop football. And at one point of time in the early 2000s, we've seen the institutional teams having salaries or putting in salaries into their teams, and then we have coaches develop themselves. So a combination of all these things have helped our football. And in 2005, when we hosted the under-17 and 2009 respectively winning it, and then at the end of the day, we've seen back then the president injecting a whole lot of money into football. At that point of time, people started saying, well, football is something whereby people can get money. And then we've seen some professionals manage to develop not only themselves, but their families. And I think that also have translated onto the league, everybody believing that I can be a footballer and make a lot of money from it. And that have really helped us. And looking at the performances itself, I think a combination of all these factors with the development of coaches, with the dream getting bigger, little bit of infrastructural development, I think that of Birkama and some few stadiums have Banjul and other have really also helped in terms of other developmental patterns. So if you combine all these things together, I think football have gone to a big level, and that has been indicated in the performances. And well, we cannot forget the qualification of the Gambia in the of course African Cup of Nations. And it is important to note that in the last game that the Gambia played, it was only one player, that is Nuha Sonko Sunback, that was the only player that has never played in our league. All the other players we are developed and produced here in our league. So that tells us that over the years we have made massive strides, and of course you cannot just throw that away in the bin. Fine, all these players that help us develop were professional footballers, but they were developed here in our league. So it is no coincidence that we are seeing our league take a different dimension and everybody is loving it. And as journalists and as pundits, we are also loving it and joining the wagon.
Let's start with the team of the moment right now. Fortune, after playing 13 matches, 29 points, scoring 14 goals in the process and just conceding 2. Fortune, sometime last season, they were not at this stage. a massive improvement, and we've seen some new players in their team. Deservedly, are they on top?
Yeah, deservedly. I think there are two factors that you would attach to this success of Fortune. The first one is the coach. He's the second longest serving coach in the league. I think it is only Fodeba that have served more than him. So he has gathered experience over the years. I remember he started with Samga as the academy boys. He was there with the likes of Ibrahim Amane and others. Later Ibrahim Amane left. He was the sole coach and then developed a very enjoyable brand of football, the famous Tiki Taka, and over the years has helped develop the likes of Lamin Sadio Samate, the likes of Pabaji. They've done extremely well, and at one point of time, Fortune peaked. And unfortunately, his marriage with Fortune ended. And Jane is a kind of coach.
That's Samgarada.
Samgarada ended, and he's a kind of coach that have players that are very loyal to him. And a clear testimony to that was when he was leaving Samga going to Fortune, the likes of Patrick Silva, the likes of Jai,
Asan
Jai, all joined him to Fortune.
Jibril Silla.
Jibril Silla, the list goes on, all joined him to Fortune. There were talks that even half of the Samga team joined him to Fortune. So that is one charisma he has. The other one is Fortune have developed to be a community-based team. I think all over West Coast region, we used to have Birkama as the most popular team. But Fortune is now competing Birkama in terms of popularity. And Busumbala, Farato, everybody has identified yourself with the team and everybody is supporting it. And not only that, the president, I think, is one of those few club presidents that have love for football and is injecting a lot of money into the team. If you look at their organizational structure, when I saw them some 4 years ago playing in the Banjul Regional League, qualifying there, I said to myself, if this trend continues, if this guy continues with the same ambition, they will be a force to be reckoned with, and that is what have exactly happened. And not only the management, but Jane have managed to, I think, over the years, accumulate a lot of experience, knowing that there is nothing like the best pattern of football. You have to vary things, and then the most important thing is the result. When he was with Samga, it was just the tiki-taka. It was like to copy Barcelona or Arsenal. We used to call them the academy boys. Now, Jane have really evolved in terms of tactical approach. It is not only about playing the beautiful game. Sometimes he approaches games whereby he sit and counter-attack teams. Sometimes he knows that he is well equipped or better equipped than the opponent and attack them, and then, of course, win them. And he knows also how to change tactics whereby if he needs to kill off the game, kill off the pace of the game in order to take away the opponent's chances or belief, he does that and does that to perfection. So it is no coincidence that they are on top of the league, and everything is indicating that if they manage to continue with this trend, why not win the league?
Last year at this time, the league took a break. Well, I would say that the GFF annulled the competition because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and government put in some restrictions. Last year, at this stage, it was Real de Banjul who were on top. And this time around, it's a completely different story. If you look at their position on the table, well, Armed Forces are second, but the point difference between the top spot, Fortune, and Armed Forces is 7 points. Brikama United closely follows in third place on 20 points. But then you have a team like Wa Banjul on fourth. At the same time, Real de Banjul also have 20 points. Elite United improving there, comparing to the position that they had last season. Are all these factors to say that our league is not all that we say that we need massive improvement, of course, when it comes to infrastructure, but the quality of football and also the competitiveness of the league?
Very competitive. In terms of quality, I think we can compare ourselves to our neighbors in West Africa. I don't see any country that has more talents than us. That's one thing that I can comfortably say. We might lack certain things, but in terms of quality, we have it in abundance. And that is something that is reflecting on the teams. And if you look at some of the performances of the teams, there are so many factors that might make a team not very much consistent in one way or the other. I can tell you most of the top teams that we would say should be competing for the league, all of them have one factor or two that might be affecting their performances this time around. If you look at Real de Banjul, they hired one of the most, let me call him one of the most result-oriented coaches, and that has been paying dividends for him in Ibu Jara. He won with Talinding, he won with Armed Forces, and with Real de Banjul, I believe he was going to win something. But Real is a team that combined two major interests. The first is they want to develop young, exciting players and sell them abroad. That's what they want to do. That's their number one priority.
For them, it's about commercialization of the team.
Jara wants to win, and in winning, he would identify certain players in other teams. He would take the initiative of trying to recruit them, and the club will help it. So at one point of time, I think Jara wants to win, but I think his marriage with Real, I think there was that little bit of conflict of interest. And it was very difficult for them to marry the two. And I think the main reason why he was given the exit door is one of those things. And Real also, over the years, have lost some of their better players. So they have to accept and understand that it will take time before they reach the level where the teams of where Steve was there, Kalon was there, and Boubacar, Sanyang and all.
Sanyang.
Yes.
Jamano.
They have to understand that. That is one thing. If you look at Birkama United, over the years also, they will always lose their better players. Mamadou Bojang was arguably the best player in the league some 2-3 years ago when they won the league. He has left the team. Modou Mane have joined Real. So most of their better players also would move. Yeah. And if you look at other teams like Armed Forces, well, when Jara was there, Jara, of course, won the league with them. But after Giggs came, they must have gone under a mini transition. And Jara also have taken the likes of Baisonko and others. At one point of time, they lost Sekuba, they lost Emil, although they are back. So they also have to go under a particular transition. So Walidan nowhere near where they used to be, in as much as there is a lot of money injected by the president, but nowhere near where they should have been. So all those factors combined together would see that teams would find it difficult to have a redeem. So Fortune capitalized, got some important players and got the experience with Jane and got the financial backing. That is, so it is no coincidence that they took advantage over the transitional periods of the other teams and now are topping the league. So I think they have done extremely well. But in terms of quality, we are doing extremely well. But remember, all of these teams would have 1 or 2 players that will go to trials, that will go to play in Senegal or play in other leagues. So that is something that they would love, because that's the only thing that can bring money to the team. So that is why it is difficult for a team to be consistently up there for 3 or 4 seasons.
Still talking about the competitiveness of the league, there is no outright dominance per se when 2 teams are playing. Well, of course, you obviously have the big guns still. Real de Banjul, it was one of them. Armed Forces, well, Fortune this season have been fantastic, the likes of Brikama United. But Gamtel have dropped a little bit. If you look at other teams like GPA also, yes, they're still competing in the top 3 or top 4, but when we look at the result that they had against Wa Banjul, exciting games here. You and I were there. We see the brand of football that's being played. The crowd love it. And at the end of the day, Wa Banjul were able to punish Ports Authority when they made that mistake, free kick in the last minute of the game.
Yes, one other issue that have affected the inconsistency of teams or contributed to the inconsistency of teams is it is post-COVID. Most of the teams never had the opportunity to have a proper preseason. Some were even having some of their players come halfway and then the other group would come the next day. So it has affected even other top leagues in Europe. That is a testimony to the delayed kicking off forms of the top teams in Europe, the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. It took time before they kick-started their season in consistent form. So that also have affected our leagues in one way or the other. And mentioning GPA, I think GPA themselves are going on the transition. In say Adama Diouf, they have a coach that is UFRB licensed coach that believes in a particular philosophy that he's trying to, of course, instill in his players. One thing that is affecting his play might be the bad nature of our pitches. That is one thing. Another thing also might be he has injected a lot of new players into his team. I think the longest serving player in GPA is Malik Sarr, and Malik is, I think, is in his 4th or 5th season. And one day I was watching his game, all of his players were not there 3 years ago. So he would learn, the team would learn, and he would learn personally as well. And it is not only him. If you look at Gamtel also, I think since Tafa left and the late Suleiman Kuyate took over the team, won the league, he left, they also have gone under a particular mini transition, and I don't know what is affecting them. But Gamtel over the years would recruit the best players in the league. But on the gym, on the O's, that was not the case. They were not recruiting.
Could Gamtel be affected by the withdrawal in the last minute in the CAF Confederations Cup some time ago? Because I understand the players, once that happened, they remonstrated. They were not happy with that decision because they already entered the competition and only to withdraw in the last minute.
So I think if I were them, I would not have entered, because if you're entering a competition knowing that you can play the first leg but not being able to play the first leg, why even enter the competition in the first place? That is a factor. But I think the bigger factor is the support that the board used to give to the team. When Tafa was there, when Sol Kuyate was there, Gamtel would recruit the best players in the league, and they would certainly help them win. But after that, I don't know, for whatever reason, you look at Gamtel teams, they're not having the best players in the league, with all due respect. They have some young, exciting players, but they're no longer recruiting. The likes of Master, Asan Cisse, Baka Cisse, Fode. These are players that help them win. So it is no longer the case anymore. I understand maybe they never wanted Jim as their first choice, but maybe for that reason they've never supported him the way they should have supported him. But if you look at a team like Gamtel, the way it was being structured when Alaji Sila was there, when Saul Kor was there, when Tafa Mane was there, it is always the board helping the team because they have the financial edge over the other teams. But that is not the case, and for one reason or the other, that might be the leading factor for them not to be competing anymore. Although last season, with all due respect to Jim, he has done particularly good job, because when the season was finishing, I think he was third or second. That was the main reason why they were able to enter the Confederation Cup. But I think he was not supported the way he should have been supported, and that has been affecting the performances of the team.
Affecting the performance of the team, and we are going to have a short break there, and when we come back, still the discussion follows. The exciting goals in the league, and also the lack of them in some matches. You see players clearly having opportunities. All that they need to do is to compose and get the ball inside the back of the net.
From an early age, we value the feeling of speed, the thrill of the wind as we rush to our destinations, the feel of our feet bounding over the ground, the way the world blurs as we rush by. Faster, faster than a ray of light, I'm flying. I have one speed, I have one gear. Keep on moving, I won't stop till I get there. Want to experience speed? Then subscribe to the Gambia's 4G LTE mobile network, Qcell. With speeds of up to 45 megabytes per second, you can get online in the blink of an eye. The fastest browsing, stream videos faster, do much more faster. Just dial *335# to join the fastest club. Qcell's 4G LTE mobile network. Go faster. For more information, call 111. Qcell, Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is Qsports, and I'm Mamudu Kajaga. We are talking exclusively about the Gambia Football Federation's First Division League. We've talked about the team that is on top, Fortune, and why other teams are struggling, and how competitive is the league. Setijan is my guest. We are going to talk about now the goals. We've seen on the goal scoring chart leading the pack is Brikama United's Papis Nyasi on 9 goals, and he's missed 6 of the matches out of the 13 we've played so far in the first half of the league. And then closely following is Armed Forces Sekuba Cisse, who has been a brilliant player as well. So in that order, are we really seeing the goals that we're supposed to have in the league? Because so many chances have been created, but a few has been scored.
Yeah, I think in terms of average number of goals per game, it is not bad, because remember we used to have very poor return in terms of goals over the years. I think at one point of time we even had a leading goal scorer who scored nine goals.
9 goals, yeah.
Yeah, one can argue that by then the league was, I think, 12 teams. Now we are having 14 teams. That is one factor. The other factor is problems of strikers is something that we are experiencing all over Africa. Sometimes scoring goal is not about technique that you are taught, it's about instincts. It's about instincts, and over the years we've had find good strikers that have goal scoring instincts, the likes of Bayomar Samba, the likes of Sansise before he left, the likes of Steve at one point of time even turned himself to be a very level goal scorer. And I think one of the main reasons why we don't score many goals as we should have is some of the coaches do set up themselves in games not to lose them.
Not to lose, yes. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that. Yes.
Not to lose.
It's either you try to get a point or so. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, we have some brave coaches. They're doing a pretty good job. But I think some of the teams, they're hoping that they're not going to get relegated. So if you're playing that way, well, you will not set your team to of course be very much adventurous. And if you have an opponent that you think is better than you, you will try to close the game. and that has affected in one way or the other our league. And the other one is being clinical. And I think I said it, goal scoring is sometimes instinct. Sometimes a team can build up, create the chances with witnesses, and all you need to do is to have that goal scoring instinct or to be clinical, and that is very much lacking. But kudos to Papis. I think he's absolutely a natural goal scorer. This kid, when growing up in Birkama and doing extremely well in the Birkama, Nawetan, and then from there the zonal team, I watched him some couple of times. I said, if he managed to integrate himself into the league, take his learning curve, he's going to be a clinical goal scorer, and that is what he has proven. Last season, he got some injuries, and this season got some injuries, but once he's up and running, I think he's shouldering the team and scoring the goals. And Birkama always used to have that. When they won the league in 2011, they had Fode, and later on they had the likes of Seni Bojang, and when they won it again with Mamadou Bojang Major, he shouldered the team. So always Birkama have lethal and clinical strikers, and it seems history would also put Papis Nyasi under that bracket because his goal scoring returns and statistics is absolutely brilliant. Sekuba, I think when Gaf won the league some 3 years ago under Jara, he was absolutely a lethal striker. I can remember this player when he was leaving Birkama to come to Armed Forces. It was a huge problem. They delayed Suleiman Kuyate was very much bitter.
In fact, some even blame him for forcing his way out of the team.
Yeah, because of the
very important player.
Yeah, the abilities. I think he possesses unique characteristics that not most of our strikers got. He can shoot with both feet, left and right, and he can. I think the trajectory of his shots are absolutely brilliant. And not only that, he scores set pieces. I saw him score a corner against Gambia Ports Authority. Set pieces, he scored it for fun, and he has that mentality, winning mentality. I talked to him in I think it was after GPA. He said he wants to break the goal scoring record that was held by Mustafa Drame, 21 goals. 21 goals in a league season. That's what he wants to break. And I'm not saying he is going to do it this season, but he has what it takes to do it, and with the help of his team, and believe he can do it. And the likes of Keba Mane got a hat-trick, Adama Sidibe and others, and not forgetting Ibrahima Kamara Bura. Although he's not part of the chat, but I think his efforts with Fortune and his experience and the way he leads the team as a lone striker is also helping Fortune top the table. I've seen him in many games. I think the way he closes up the opponent, the way he sets up the high press of Jane is absolutely phenomenal. So it is not only about the goals that are being scored, but there are strikers, even if they don't score, they help the team gel, and they help the team, of course, play, and then, of course, implement the tactics of the coach. But kudos to Papis, and I think, well, unless and until somebody emerges out there, it is going to be an outright race between him and Sekuba.
So we have to talk about the refereeing. What do you make of some of the decisions? Yes, as pressmen and women, sometimes we sit up there, we see certain decisions. Yes, we are not the referee. They do certain calls. We can say this one is obvious. This is a penalty. There's no doubt about that. Oh, I've watched one of the league matches in Real de Banjul's field at Basori, and I saw a particular player, hit the opponent on the face, which is a straight booking. The fourth official was there. The referee may have missed it, but I think in a normal football sense, the fourth official must have allowed the referee and saw the incident, and the referee would take decision on that. But he decided to ignore. The other coach was very much frustrated about the whole issue and complained and all of that. So I think sometimes the refereeing, in as much as they are doing well, but I think there are certain decisions also that they have to improve on.
Yeah, I think Gambian refereeing, a lot of credit has to be given to them, because at one point of time, it was the only aspect of football that was moving forward. And huge credit, of course, goes to the late Uncle Badu Jase, the likes of Monso, Alaji Adam, and Baye Adua. They've done a pretty good job in developing the likes of Papa Bakari Gassama and others. So huge kudos goes to them. But another thing is, if you look at the level that Papa have taken it, we are finding it difficult to have referees that are following his footsteps or even coming closer to Papa. And I don't know whether it is down to the way they are being helped, nurtured, or they are just incompetent and all. Well, we have some good ones, but if you look at some of the decisions that they take, I think it's absolutely horrendous. Just to back your statement, I watched footages of, I think it was Birkama Gambia Ports Authority. Yeah. Well, that incident was that was an assault.
Yes.
I will call it an assault. And
straight red card, no
red
negotiation.
Card, no negotiation.
Yes.
And some of the penalty, with the modern game, I think the flow is being build up in order for us to have more goals. You watch the Premier League, even a slight contact in the box is a penalty. But here, sometimes I think the referee wants an opponent to be, or a player to be killed for him to avoid a penalty. It's absolutely crazy, and I think
gets to that harsh point.
they need to improve. Papa and others have taken to a very high level, but this current generation, I think a lot of work needs to be done in order to come nowhere near where some of our elite referees have taken it to.
Well, we cannot get enough of this discussion. We wish we continue to talk about a whole lot of things, but so we would have Sektijan again here to talk about the National League, the domestic league. This is our football. Yes, we all do support our Manchesters and Arsenals and Real Madrids, but this is our elite football, and this is what produces the Asan Ceeses, the Musa Barros. They all started here. They played on dusty pitches. They also played on sandy pitches. Sure. At the end of the day, they played in the stadium. Now they're professional footballers. On that note, thank you very much for watching this broadcast. Bye for now, and have a pleasant night.